Hello, Lemonheads. We start the show with something healthy today. Support comes from Brickhouse Whey Protein. I've tried so many protein powders over the years, most of them disappointing. They didn't help me build muscle, they didn't help me boost my energy or improve my workouts. Honestly, they just left me feeling bloated and let down. Then the doctors at Brickhouse Nutrition explained why so many powders fail. Poor quality protein and cheap fillers, things like maltodextrin, soy, corn syrup, sodium, and cellulose. That's not fuel for your body. Brickhouse Whey is different. It's bioengineered by doctors, not marketers, with a clean formulation and superior bioavailability so your body actually uses it. It delivers professional level muscle growth, lean strength, real energy, and fast recovery. Plus, it's lactose free, so no bloating or stomach upset. Don't let junk protein sabotage your workouts or how you feel. Switch to Brickhouse Whey and get guaranteed results or your money back. Go to thenewway.com and use promo code LEMON for 20% off. That's thenewway.com and get 20% off. Okay, make sure you use the code LEMON. Hello, everybody. So thank you. We started off with something healthy. We want to make sure that you are healthy as you start your day. Protein can help you do that. Have a great protein-rich diet and vegetables as well. No, Epstein. Yes, I see you guys in the chat this morning. By the way, good morning to you. Hope you're having a cup of coffee. No, Epstein is not over because Donald Trump has Epstein derangement syndrome, and that's why he's one of the reasons he's doing what he's doing in Washington, D.C. today, trying to change the narrative. Okay, let's not get it twisted. We know what this is all about, and it is not helping. He knows. Even his poll numbers are down, especially among demographics who helped him to win the election. So good morning, big stretch, everybody. Oh, let me go up. I'm not up on the TikTok. Good morning to our folks who are on YouTube. Good morning to our folks who are on Instagram, our folks who are joining us on Facebook and also on TikTok. So if you're joining us, no matter what platform, make sure you smash the screen. Make sure you hit the like button and the subscribe button. If you hit the like button, it does affect, you hear this on every show on YouTube. If you hit the like button, it affects the algorithm and it makes people more people aware of our content, of our show, and it really helps us out on the independent streets. It also helps us out if you subscribe. It's free. It's right at the bottom right near the comments on the screen. And if you become a member, that's how we stay viable and independent. Okay? So thank you so much. Look, what you're looking at on your screen now is we're going to cover the breaking news today. You guys know what Donald Trump is doing, right? Hello from D.C. Michelle, what is it like there? Let us know what's going on in D.C. Good morning. I'm so glad that you guys are here. How are you feeling? Hi, South Carolina. So as we're watching this, and then we'll put up, look, this is the White House. We'll put up the White House as well. It still says, the White House says standing by. We begin shortly. That is a White House press conference that's going to go on because Donald Trump wants to take over D.C. I think, does he want to militarize it? We're hearing that there's already presence of police officers in the streets in in Washington, D.C. And yeah, Sup from Tennessee. Hi, Tremaine. So let us know if you're in D.C. Hi, Florida. I see that you're in the house. D.C. is fine. Nothing is going on. DC is Epstein diversion. Yes, it is Epstein diversion. I'm so glad that you said that. So we'll get back to the one where we can see. Go back to the other one, and then we'll figure it out. I am monitoring it as well. But I just want to show you. So you see, we have the feed. The Washington Journal is up. We'll take care of that. But we just want you to see inside the briefing room that you're looking at right there. And this is going to start shortly. What is he going to say? What is he going to say? And I'm going to tell you why. It is the most obvious bullshit thing that he could do. Okay? So, Lemon, you are winning so fast, you're about to blow up. Thank you. Right on. Right on. Riot X. We love winning on this channel. But anyways, I'm just slowing it down because I'm getting ready for the breaking news. And then what they're talking about, too, is there's a meeting on Friday, supposedly with Russia, Ukraine, Putin, maybe Zelensky, not confirmed yet. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But that's what we're doing. Now, let me tell you why this is going on as we await that. So on August 5th, Big Balls. You guys know the 19-year-old who's known as Big Balls. He played that key role in the Doge initiative to shrink the size of government. Well, Big Balls was assaulted that weekend. It was a Saturday night or early Sunday morning in Washington. Okay. His name is Edward Corsentine. He still works for the government. He was assaulted by approximately 10 juveniles near DuPont Circles about 3 a.m. Sunday. That's according to police report obtained by Politico. Police arrested two 15-year-olds as they attempted to flee the scene. There's a black iPhone 16 valued at $1,000 was also reported stolen during the incident. That's according to the report. President Trump posted a photo of his social media platforms showing a shirtless Corsentine with what appeared to be blood spattered on his face, his body, and his pants. He called for a change in the law so that the juveniles, who attacked him could be charged as an adult. Here's a quote: "Perhaps it should have been done a long time ago. Then this incredible young man and so many others would not have had to go through the horrors of violent crime." Okay, now here's the thing. Nobody should have to go through the horrors of violent crime. No one. And I'm going to get to the point in a second here. But no one. Now, just because someone who works for Doge, what is he, 19-year-old white kid, if he gets, no one should be assaulted. But I'm saying this 19-year-old white kid because there are many people of color who are assaulted by criminals, who are assaulted by racists, who are assaulted by police officers, who are assaulted by people in their own communities every single day in America. And Donald Trump, in both blue and red cities and blue and red states, and Donald Trump does not take over their city. So why is he doing it now? What is so different about this than about other crimes? Now, for those of you who are about to write about it and you want to put it on the website, oh my God, Don Lemon is. No, I'm saying nobody should be assaulted. No one. Big Balls should not be assaulted. But Big Balls is one of many people who are assaulted, sadly, all over the country, not just in Washington, D.C., but in every place, in every state all over the country, it happens. And the biggest purveyors of it, by the way, are not immigrants. So I don't understand why all of a sudden he wants to take over an American city because he's upset that some young kid who happens to be white and also part of his administration gets assaulted. What about the black kids who are assaulted? What about the Latino kids? What about the immigrants who are assaulted? What about the immigrants who are being assaulted by ICE officers? What about the black kids or black young men who are assaulted by police officers every single day? What about that? What about Donald Trump's assault on our senses every single day? Why is it so different now? And I hate to come up and I hate to bring up race, but that's what it is. Denise P., I think you're right. The boy is white and the mayor is black. He does not like having Muriel Bowser in charge in Washington, D.C. He doesn't like that she stands up to him. He doesn't like that D.C. is a black district. If you want to say city, it's not really a city. It's the District of Columbia. He does not like that. And now, that's why this administration, I'm telling you, there is no other way to put it, no other way around it, that this is a fucking racist administration. Donald Trump is racist. This administration is racist. Wish Big Balls the best, but I also wish the best for every other person who happens to be assaulted all over the country and Donald Trump doesn't come to your rescue. Now, let me just tell you, I'm going to show you in the harshest way that I can show you how hypocritical this is for him to talk about. But first of all, let's put up the tweet so I can see I want you guys to see what Donald Trump said in this tweet that he tweeted about Big Balls. He said, we are having a news conference tomorrow in the White House. I'm going to make our Capitol safer and more beautiful than it ever was before. The homeless have to move out immediately. We'll talk about that. We will give you places to stay by far, but far from the Capitol. The criminals you don't have to move out. The criminals, you don't have to move out. We're going to put you in jail where you belong. It's all going to happen very fast, just like the border. We went from millions pouring in to zero in the last few months. This will be easier. Be prepared. There will be no Mr. Nice guy. We want our capital back. Thank you for your attention to this matter. You know what? He's right about one thing. We do want our capital back, and that means the capital without your ass living there. He always likes to tell lawmakers, like, you know, the squad, to go back to wherever they came from. He should go back to Mar-a-Lago. DC doesn't need your help. So he said, we're going to put the criminals in jail. Okay. Well, first he said, we want the homeless out. We want them far away from DC. So out of sight, out of mind. This man has no humanity. You may not like seeing homeless people or the unhoused on the streets, but that is our problem as a society just as much as it is theirs, that we don't have the humanity, or at least the bandwidth, to think about and be able to fund and tackle the problem of the homeless in this country. So instead of helping them, what do? Republicans, you cut the funding for the hospitals and the facility that had been housing them, and they end up on the streets. You want to know? Case in point, New York. I lived there. In the late 80s and early 90s, the Republicans around the country, started cutting funding for facilities that housed homeless people and people with mental health issues. And those people ended up on the streets. And you have the nerve to say, well, these people, whatever, why don't you do something about it and stop cutting the funding? It's your fault. Out of sight, out of mind is what he's saying. That these people aren't human, or aren't as human as he is, or they don't deserve the dignity that most Americans deserve. And by the way, you know what a lot of those people are, Donald Trump, you dumb shit? They're veterans that you cut the funding for the VA for. These people are veterans who served their country. They came home with PTSD and other issues that affected them for the rest of their lives. And you have no compassion for them? Stop cutting the funding. Stop giving so much money to the military and to the defense. Stop with the tax cuts for the rich people, for the billionaires. Take some of that money you're right. And while building ballrooms for $200 million, who gives a shit about that? Why don't you take that $200 million and you put it into facilities to help the homeless people, many of them who are our veterans, our brothers and sisters who served this country and came within an inch of giving the ultimate sacrifice. And maybe they did give an ultimate sacrifice because they have not been themselves since they returned from that war. What is that? Is that a life, or is that just existing? Why is that? Why is that? I don't care how many homeless, I don't care what the percentage of homeless is. I mean, of veterans that are homeless. They're still veterans and they're still homeless. And they make up a percentage, doesn't matter, of our people who are unhoused and therefore should be taken care of. And it does not, they still should be providing more money for the VA and more assistance for veterans. Remember, suckers and losers. And now let's get to the part, put his tweet or whatever you want to call it back up, where he says, we're going to put you in jail where you belong. The criminals, you don't have to move out. We're going to put you in jail where you belong. Now that is some bullshit. And you know why it's some bullshit? because I don't know if you guys remember this, but there was, something that happened at the Capitol on January 6th that I just want to show you what some criminals look like. Here it is.
Multiple capital injuries. Multiple capital injuries.
Okay, so here's my question. Are these assholes in jail? Are these criminals in jail? So don't give me that bullshit when I tell you that Donald Trump is racist and that this administration is racist and their policies are racist. And then you see all of these white people out there, all these white dudes, some women. Remember, there was a woman who defied the police. She found out what happens when you don't comply. She's no longer with us. The people who participated in that were criminals, are criminals. Are they in jail? Are they locked up behind bars? Donald Trump himself, Donald Trump, you committed crimes. 34 counts. That's the one that happened before you were president. The rest of them that would have to come are on hold, probably won't come back because you became president of the United States. That's why you pushed so hard. You had to become president of the United States. You had to do it. Otherwise, you would probably be in jail. Yourself, a criminal. You're a criminal yourself, and you have the nerve to call other people out. That is some privileged bullshit right there. And that is is there a word that's bigger and better that describes this more than hypocrisy? That a criminal has the nerve to call other people criminals when probably what you were convicted of is probably more serious and far more counts than folks stealing an iPhone. And they should not be assaulting. No one should be assaulting anyone, including the people on January 6th. And so the people who assaulted, let me just make this clear. The young men who assaulted Big Balls or whatever this kid is, Corsentine, they should get whatever punishment is fitting for them. Just like the folks, the insurrectionists, the criminals who participated in January 6th in the insurrection should get whatever punishment is befitting. But what happened? You pardoned them because they were white, because they were your supporters, because you needed to prove a point, and because you wanted to distract from how horrible your record is and what a horrible person you are. Because you needed support. It was a quid pro quo. Keep supporting me, keep voting for me, I will pardon you. This administration is racist. No one is saying that DC should run amok, criminals should be running amok in DC. So if you don't think the criminals who run amok in DC, in Nashville, in New Orleans, in Houston, in St. Louis, in Kansas City, you don't think the criminals who run amok in those places, some of them red, if you think that those criminals should be held accountable, then you as a criminal, Donald Trump, a couple times over, should be held accountable, and the folks who participated in January 6th should also be held accountable. Stop it with the racist hypocrisy. Stop it with the racist hypocrisy. So Donald Trump is going to hold a press conference in just minutes to talk about some bullshit and to distract you from what he's really concerned about, and that is Epstein. And you know how we know he's concerned about Epstein? I wanted to listen to the biographer who has written many books on Donald Trump, has access to Donald Trump. And here he is. This is what he has to say. This is Michael Wolff talking about Donald Trump and this administration's obsession with Epstein. Here it is.
Now, this is a key issue right now in the way the White House is looking at the Epstein scandal. The fear is that Ghislaine Maxwell can tie Donald Trump to the details of what Trump and Epstein called the Pussy Committee. The Pussy Committee consisted of Trump and Epstein in their efforts to get girls for Prince Andrew.
Excuse me? And the thing is, it's Michael Wolff. Some people call him a fabulous, like, okay, he exaggerates or even that he makes shit up. But here's the thing, though. Is that far out of the realm of possibilities for Donald Trump? I mean, remember, grab him by the pussy. That word came out of, those words came out of his mouth. Those words came out of his mouth. Roll it again, please. I just want you to hear that. Hear it again. This is Michael Wolff.
This is a key issue right now in the way the White House is looking at the Epstein scandal. The fear is that Ghislaine Maxwell can tie Donald Trump to the details of what Trump and Epstein called the Pussy Committee. The Pussy Committee consisted of Trump and Epstein in their efforts to get girls for Prince Andrew.
Mm. I used to love it when people would come on when I worked in linear TV and they would say, oh my gosh, stop. They would tell the people who would say the P word, like, stop saying that word. And it's like, why do you get so upset? I remember Anna Navarro. Anna Navarro was up on a show with me and she said, someone told her, she kept saying the P word, the P word, the P word. And someone said, well, a Trump supporter said, stop saying that word. Why are you saying that word? You said what you are getting. Why are you so upset with me for saying that word? He said it. I'm just repeating what he said. I am just repeating what he said. The P word, what did he say again? Oh, the P committee. Now, again, I just want to tell you, I'm going to get more than that. I'm going to tell you what's happening in Washington, D.C. I'm going to tell you what's happening as it relates to the redistricting controversy that's happening in Texas, and that's going to spread to a city or a town or a state near you. And then we're going to hear someone who is really fed up, has had enough of the Donald Trump supporters and the hypocrites who are right now supporting what this president is doing in DC and beyond. And then also Donald Trump has some terrible, terrible news. He got terrible news about his poll numbers. Again, Epstein. He has Epstein derangement syndrome, and that's why he's doing what he's doing in Washington, D.C. today. So stand by. We're going to bring you the press conference live. And then not only are we going to bring it to you live, I'm going to talk you through it. Okay? But first, a word from our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. You know, these days, everyone's got advice on how to feel better, cold plunges, gratitude journals, screen detoxes, but how do you know what actually works for you? The internet is full of mental health tips, but it can be overwhelming. For me, therapy has been a game changer. Talking to a professional helps cut through the noise and figure out what's really going on. That's why I like BetterHelp. They've got over 30,000 licensed therapists and have served more than 5 million people worldwide. The app has a 4.9 rating in the App Store from over 1.7 million reviews. People love it. It's easy to fit into your life. And so you can connect anywhere, switch therapists anytime, and find someone who really understands your needs. BetterHelp gives you access to mental health professionals with a wide variety of expertise. So talk it out with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/Don Lemon. That's betterhelp.com/Don Lemon. Support comes from Shopify. This show started as just a dream, and now it is a business, and you're listening and watching it right now. Starting something new can feel overwhelming. You might think, well, what if I don't have the skills? What if I can't do it alone? Well, Shopify helps you turn those what ifs into why nots. Shopify powers millions of businesses and 10% of all e-commerce in the US, from big brands to brand new entrepreneurs. We use Shopify for our Don Lemon Show merch, and it couldn't be easier. You don't need to design a site from scratch. They've got beautiful templates ready to go. Need help with product photos, descriptions, or promo codes? Their AI tools can handle it. Want to get the word out? Shopify makes it simple to run email and social campaigns. And if you get stuck, their 24-hour award-winning customer support is there. Turn your dreams into reality with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/lemon. That's shopify.com/lemon. Thank you to our sponsors. Okay, we're getting a 2-minute warning from the White House, and if we look now, we can see that the briefing room, the photographers and reporters, producers, correspondents, anchors, all getting ready. The president getting ready to. I'm sure he's going to look. Let me just take you through this and tell you. He's going to talk shit about Muriel Bowser. He's going to talk about the crime. He's going to talk about all kinds of crap. How bad the blue cities are, and blue. He's going to talk about California. That appears to be frozen, by the way. Maybe it's just me. He's going to talk about California and just how how he believes that California is so bad, and Los Angeles rather, all of the blue states. And he's not going to mention the red states where crime is worse, is bad, if not worse, than in blue states. And also, he's not going to tell you that crime last year was down like 26%, almost 30%. Overall in DC, violent crime down dramatically in Washington, DC. No city is perfect. He's not going to tell you about that. He's not going to tell you about how he may be defying the Constitution in order to do what he is doing. But he is the president of the United States. And so, he is above the law. And you see Donald Trump is defying not only he's the federal judges, all kinds of things. There you see Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Jeanine Pirro, Pete Hegseth there, what's his name, the commerce dude, Howard Lutkin, all there, a rogues gallery of folks who are there in Washington, D.C. for this press conference. There you see them. I told you we're going to bring it to you live, and they're all standing there. This is a photo op. Wow. Fox News, someone who is involved in law, someone who was prosecuting him, and then he gave her campaign $25,000, and that went away. A former weekend morning show anchor who is an alleged alcoholic and philanderer, and Howard Lutnick, who is not the sharpest knife in the drawer. And there is, wow, did he gain weight? There is Donald Trump stepping up to the podium. Let's listen in.
Been up here a lot. I've never seen a crowd like this. I think we need a ballroom, and that's happening. It's going to be a beautiful ballroom. This is
my God. He's talking about a fucking ballroom.
I've never seen in this room. And we're here for a very serious purpose, very serious purpose.
And why'd you start off by talking about a ballroom?
In control very quickly, like we did on the southern border. I'm announcing a historic action to rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor, and worse. This is Liberation Day in D.C., and we're going to take our capital back. We're taking it back under the authorities vested in me as the President of the United States. I'm officially invoking Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act. You know what that is? And placing the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department under direct federal control, and you'll be meeting the people that will be directly involved with that. Very good people, but they're tough, and they know what's happening, and they've done it before. In addition, I'm deploying the National Guard to help reestablish law, order, and public safety in Washington, D.C., and they're going to be allowed to do their job properly. And you people are victims of it too. You know, you're reporters, and I understand a lot of you tend to be on the liberal side, but you don't want to get mugged and raped and shot and killed. And you all know people and friends of yours that happened. And so you can be anything you want, but you want to have safety in the streets. You want to be able to leave your apartment or your house where you live and feel safe and go into a store to buy a newspaper or buy something. And you don't have that now. The murder rate in Washington today is higher than that of Bogota, Colombia, Mexico City, some of the places that you hear about as being the worst places on earth, much higher. This is much higher. The number of car thefts has doubled over the past 5 years, and the number of carjackings has more than tripled. Murders in 2023 reached the highest rate probably ever. They say 25 years, but they don't know what that means because it just goes back 25 years. Can't be worse. Our capital city has been overtaken by violent gangs and bloodthirsty criminals, roving mobs of wild youth, drugged out maniacs and homeless people. And we're not going to let it happen anymore. We're not going to take it. Yeah, just like we did on our southern border. Nobody comes to our southern border anymore. 3 months in a row, we had zero. I don't know if that's right, but the people that do the work, it's a very liberal group of people, actually, and they actually said zero for the last 3 months. Nobody thought a thing like that was
Drugged out
possible.
people and homeless people.
And
he's mentioning
when you
2023
say take a
crime
look at
numbers,
numbers, I just
not
saw
24.
some
nor
charts.
25.
These are different cities throughout the world. Red is okay. The red is a place called Washington, D.C. Look at these. Baghdad we doubled up on Baghdad.
The first question should be about
Panama
Epstein
City, Brasilia,
and or
San Jose,
insurrection.
Costa Rica, Bogota, Colombia, heavy drugs. Mexico City, I mentioned, Lima, Peru, all double and triple what they are. So do you want to live in places like that? I don't think so. I don't think so. And I think the people in this room, if you wrote correctly, you'd see, look at the kind of numbers we have. DC, 41 per 100,000, number one that we can find anywhere in the world. Other cities are pretty bad, but they're not as bad as that. That where you want to live? The reporters of the world? Juvenile offenders and crimes against persons, as they say. It's getting worse. Not getting better, it's getting worse. And we had a recent indication. There was a story about a man who was just left. He quit because he was asked to do phony numbers on crime. And we're going to look
The
into
numbers
that.
are
I think
always
Pam is
phony
gonna be
as it
looking into
relates
that.
to
But
Donald
he
Trump.
was asked by the
It's
city, I
it's
guess.
some anecdote. By the way,
We
he's
don't want to
using
show the real numbers.
2023
Let me
crime
do
numbers because the
numbers so it
crime
looks
numbers
like it's
have gone
they're
down
not going down.
dramatically
And
since.
under Biden, it was a
then.
disaster. And nobody did anything about it. We're going to do things about it like you wouldn't believe. Every American has a constitutional right to be able to access and petition their government in safety, and countless federal officials and employees likewise have the right to carry out their jobs in peace without being shot. As you know, I lost a very good person a while ago, was shot waiting for his wife. He was in the car. They robbed his car. They shot him. They killed him like it was nothing to it. She was walking to the car. It's a horror show. This issue directly impacts the functioning of the federal government and is a threat to America. Really, it's a threat to our country. We have other cities also that are bad, very bad. You look at Chicago, how bad it is. You look at Los Angeles, how bad it is. We have other cities that are very bad. New York has a problem. And then you have, of course, Baltimore and Oakland. We don't even mention that anymore. They're so far gone. We're not going to let it happen. We're not going to lose our cities over this. And this will go further. We're starting very strongly with DC, and we're going to clean it up real quick, very quickly, as they say. Days ago, a former member of the DOJ staff was savagely beaten by a band of roving thugs after defending a young woman from an attempted carjacking. He was left dripping in blood. He thought he was dead with a broken nose and concussion. Can't believe that he's alive. He can't believe it. In June, a 21-year-old congressional intern was tragically killed after being hit by a stray bullet in a drive-by shooting. A former Trump administration official named Mike Gill, fantastic person, was murdered last year in cold blood in a carjacking blocks away from the White House. We all knew him. Great person. Waiting for his wife as she was walking to the car. A Democrat congressman was also carjacked at gunpoint not far from the Capitol. And in 2023, an aide to Senator Rand Paul was stabbed in the chest and head by a demented lunatic as he walked down the street, just absolutely for no reason. Horrifically, last July 4th weekend, a 3-year-old girl was shot in the head and killed while sitting in a car near the Capitol. It's becoming a situation of complete and total lawlessness. And we're getting rid of the slums, too. We have slums here. We're getting rid of them. I know it's not politically correct. You'll say, oh, so terrible. No, we're getting rid of the slums where they live. Caravans of mass youth rampage through city streets at all times of the day. There are ATVs, motorbikes. They travel pretty well. Entire neighborhoods are now under emergency curfews. Just this past weekend, gunfire went through, and you saw that the Navy Yard. I saw it this morning. They saw that they fought back against law. See, they fight back until you knock the hell out of them because it's the only language they understand. But they fought back against law enforcement last night. And they're not going to be fighting back long because I've instructed them and told them whatever happens, they love to spit in the face of the police as the police are standing up there in uniform. They're standing and they're screaming at them an inch away from their face. And then they start spitting in their face. And I said, you tell them, you spit and we hit. And they get hit real hard.
This is not going to end well.
Disgusting thing. I've watched that for years.
This is not going to end well. It's going to be some crazy violence.
Don't do anything under any search. So and you can see they want to get at it. And they're standing there and people are spitting in their face and they're not allowed to do anything. But now they are allowed to do whatever the hell they want. This dire public safety crisis stems directly from the abject failures of the city's local leadership. The radical left city council adopted no cash bail. By the way, every place in the country where you have no cash bail is a disaster. That's what started the problem in New York, and they don't change it. They don't want to change it. That's what started it in Chicago. I mean, bad politicians started it, bad leadership started it, but that was the one thing that's central, no cash bail. Somebody murders somebody and they're out on no cash bail before the day is out. We're going to end that in Chicago. We're going to change the statute. I spoke with Pam and Todd and everybody. We're going to change the statute, and I'm going to have to get the Republicans to vote because the Democrats are weak on crime, totally weak on crime. They don't know why. They want to stop because they get mugged too. But we're going to change no cash bail. We're going to change the statute and get rid of some of the other things. And we'll count on the Republicans in Congress and Senate to vote. We have the majority, so we'll vote. We don't have a big majority, but we've gotten everything, including the great, big, beautiful bill. Got that done, and that's one of the greatest things that's ever happened to people in this country. They're starting to figure it out, how good it is. Biggest tax cut in history. So many things. But we'll be able to get that done. So, Todd, if you and Pam can draw up things working with the people, we will. I'll get it passed. We'll get it passed with the Republicans. Probably won't get, think of this, probably won't get one Democrat vote because they have no idea what they're doing. That's why they want men playing in women's sports. That's why they want transgender for everybody transgender.
Oh my God! Now he's talking
They
about
just got
transgender people.
walloped in an election in a landslide, and they haven't changed one thing. I saw the other day the certain gentleman who was very well-known politician, Democrat, was fighting like hell that men should be allowed to play in women's sport. They just don't get it. They said it's an 80-20 issue, and I think it's a 97-3 issue. And I don't know who the three are. I've never heard anybody nobody's ever come up to me, sir, you have to let men play in women's sports. You have to do it, sir. Nobody's ever approached me. I don't know where this issue even comes from. Never seen anything like it. But they turned our nation's capital into a sanctuary jurisdiction. That's the other thing. We have to get rid of sanctuary cities as quickly as possible. We're going to do it, too. We have to, because it's sanctuary for criminals. Releasing illegal alien gang members onto the streets in 2022, nearly 70% of criminals arrested in Washington went unprosecuted. That's not going to happen with the group we have standing aside and standing behind me. And at the Metropolitan Police Department, it's now reached a small number relatively compared to what it was, but it's thousands of people. You know, we have thousands of police. I was told today, sir, they want more police. I heard a number, 3,500 police. That's a lot of police. 3,500.
Oh my God, he's
I thought you were going
rambling.
to say we only have 30 policemen or women. He said we have 3,500. We need more. You don't need more. That's so many. I never heard. That's like an army. How could you need more than 3,000? It just happened 2 minutes ago. Sir, they've requested more police. Oh, what do they have? About 3,500. I said, 3,500? This is not a big area. It's ridiculous. What you need is rules and regulations, and you need the right people to implement them. And we have the right people here, that I can tell you. Look at the border. Biden said there's nothing you can do. Kamala was the border czar. She never called one of the Border Patrol agents who are great. ICE is great. Never spoke to anybody. Never went there. But she was the border czar. And everybody said it was impossible to fix. I fixed it in 3 months. No, really. I fixed it the first week. But really fixed
Oh my
it
God,
over
he's
a
rambling.
couple of
Can we
months.
please? Oh,
And
God.
I mean, literally to a point where, as I said, 0 illegals entering our country in the last 90 days. Pretty amazing. It's time for dramatic action. We're going to do the same thing over here. It's going to be a very safe city very soon. We're not looking to take years, because a lot of people die in years. And we've got incredible people in this country, except we have to allow them to do their job. And that we will deliver like nobody's ever delivered before. I actually think it's easy. You know, if you're competent, it's easy. If you're incompetent, it's impossible. But I'm very competent. Last week, my administration surged 500 federal agents into the district, including from the FBI, ATF, DEA, Park Police, the U.S. Marshal Service, the Secret Service, and the Department of Homeland Security. You know, a lot of nations, they don't have anything like that. They got some
God. Okay,
police,
guys.
and they're rough police.
You guys talked about
They don't have
Joe Biden's cognitive.
DEA, ATF, FBI, Park Police, the U.S. Marshal Service, Secret Service, Department of Homeland Security.
What
They
the
got
fuck is this?
some police, but they're rough police, and they do their job. They don't have crime.
What is
They're
going
not gonna have crime
on?
either. They made dozens of arrests, and that's what starts to happen. Again,
He's rambling.
cashless bail.
Something
Watch
is
what we'll
going
do with
on.
that. Today,
with
we're
him.
formally declaring a public safety emergency. This is an emergency. This is a tragic.
He has to
emergency.
declare emergency in order to get this
And it's
done where there is
embarrassing
no
for me to be
emergency.
up here. You know, I'm going to see Putin.
Same
I'm going
thing
to
with Los
Russia.
Angeles. Oh my God.
on
Now he's talking
Friday.
about Russia.
I
Oh
don't
my
like
God.
being up here talking about how unsafe and how dirty and disgusting this once beautiful capital was, with graffiti all over the walls. It's another part of it, by the way.
Yeah. What about the
Because we're talking
insurrectionists
about
did that?
safety, but we're also talking about beautification. We have the most beautiful, potentially capital in the world. We always had. But people come from Iowa, they come from Indiana, they come and then they get mugged. Not going to happen. Keep coming, because by the time you get your trip set, it's going to be safe again, and it's going to be clean very quickly. We're going to replace the medians that are falling down all over the roads. We're going to replace the potholes. We're going to put a nice new coat of asphalt over the top. No, we don't have to rip the road out and spend 7 years building a new road because they cut everything. Because some designers said, well, we need a quarter of an inch more turn for safety reasons. No, we're going to do it right. We're going to get it done
Oh
quickly.
my God, this guy is
So
out
today
of it.
we're declaring public safety emergency in the District of Columbia, and Attorney General Pam Bondi, who's fantastic, is taking command of the Metropolitan Police Department as of this moment. And I'll be making the appropriate notifications to Congress and to the mayor, our new DEA administrator, who's one of the top in the country. He better be Terry. If you're not, I'm going to get rid of you so fast. Terry Cole. Terry, thanks. Very good. We just got him. Most highly recommended person. And you'll be designated as the interim federal commissioner of the Metropolitan Police Department. Okay? And you run them tough. They're good. You have a lot of good people. You have people that shouldn't be there. You also have people that shouldn't be there. They got in there because of woke. But you have a lot of great police. And those people are the ones that want to help you. This city will no longer be a sanctuary for illegal alien criminals. We will have full, seamless, integrated cooperation at all levels of law enforcement, and we'll deploy officers across the district with an overwhelming presence. You'll have more police, and you'll be so happy because you'll be safe. When you walk down the street, you're going to see police, or you're going to see FBI agents. We're going to have a lot of agents on the street. You're going to have a lot of essentially military, and we will bring in the military if it's needed. By the way, we're going to have National Guard, but Pete Hegseth will tell you about it. We will bring in the military if needed. People say, "Oh, that's so terrible." He's going to bring in. It's been used many times over the years. I don't think we'll need it. I think we've got so many great people, including the people that are in the police department with proper leadership.
God.
They'll immediately begin massive enforcement operations targeting known gangs, drug dealers, and criminal networks to get them the hell off the street, maybe get them out of the country, because a lot of them came into our country illegally. They shouldn't have been allowed in. They come from Venezuela. They come from all over the world. We're going to get them the hell out. They won't be here long. But some of these people, a lot of them are homegrown criminals. And these are bad people. These are rough people. And this is just a list of some of the people that were given to me today that were criminals removed from the DC streets this weekend. They were rough and tough.
Well, I do get it.
But we're rougher.
That's what I said.
Look at these people here.
Look. Oh
Nothing,
my gosh.
you know, they're not going to be your local school teacher. Look at this guy. He has killed people numerous times.
What about the
They're not gonna
local
be,
school teachers?
They will never be an asset
most
to
of them
society. I
who
don't
are
care. I know we all want to say,
conservative
oh,
men
they're
who
going
are
to be rehabbed.
assaulting
It's not going to be rehabbed.
young people.
I'm going to ask Doug Burgum to come up and say a couple of words because he's in charge, as you know. He's interior, but he's in charge of the U.S.
Doug Burgum,
Park
not
Police. I've heard so
Lutnick.
many great things about the Park Police. They're proud of it. They've been there for a long time. Their families oftentimes grow into the roles. They love the country. They love this area. So, Doug, could you say a few words, please?
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of the U.S. Park Police, this is the oldest federal police force.
My work is easy because I use ClickUp. Here's how I keep track of all my tasks. I start by brain dumping everything I need to get done.
George Washington. They've got the awesome responsibility of protecting our nation's most sacred monuments. The National Mall, Washington Monument, Jefferson Memorial, Lincoln Memorial, Statue of Liberty, and out west, the Presidio and the Golden Gate area. These folks have tens of millions of visitors a year, the kind of people that President Trump's talking about that come from around the country and around the world to see our sacred and learn about our history and our sacred monuments. They've been doing a fantastic job, but they are so pleased, the rank and file, that President Trump is now allowing them to enforce the law. As those of you that live in the city may know, that the circles and the triangle parks that are spread throughout DC are actually federal park property. So the U.S. Park Police also have responsibility for that. These became littered with homeless camps under the Biden administration. All of you saw that. Since President Trump's executive order on March 27th, making DC safe and beautiful again, the U.S. Park Police have removed over 70 homeless camps. And President Trump also talked about beautification. They're stopping and enforcing the laws against graffiti on our monuments. They've removed over 80 specific attacks against our history with graffiti on our monuments. So they continue to do a great job, whether it's in their vehicles, on foot, or on the mounted police that you see around the National Mall. And President Trump, they thank you. The rank and file is so happy to be enforcing the law again. Thank you for your leadership. And they're excited about the announcement you're making today.
Thank you. Very good. Great job you're doing. Thank you very much. Pete, could you say something about the military?
Oh, God.
Well, Mr. President, it's an honor to be here. And at your direction this morning, we've mobilized the DC National Guard. It'll be operationalized by the Secretary of the Army, Dan Driscoll, through the DC Guard. You will see them flowing into the streets of Washington in the coming week. At your direction as well, sir, there are other units we are prepared to bring in. Other National Guard units, other specialized units. They will be strong, they will be tough, and they will stand with their law enforcement partners. This is nothing new for DOD. As the president noted, at the border, we've got 10,000 troops down there who've been operating in defense cooperation areas, defense zones, where there's zero illegal crossings because of troops on strikers scanning the border. We've been protecting other people's borders for 20 years. It's about time we protect our own. And we're working with ICE and CBP. In Los Angeles,
They're working with
same
ICE.
thing. Working with the
Oh my
California
God.
National Guard, working with ICE officers. ICE officers deserve to do their job and not be attacked. We will work alongside all DC police and federal law enforcement to ensure this city is safe, this city is beautiful. And as I always say about President Trump to the troops, he has their back. And my message to the National Guard and federal law enforcement in Washington is, we have your back as well. Be tough, be strong. We're right behind you. Thank you, Mr. President.
I'm going to ask Pam, because she's now, as you heard me say, she's really in charge of a lot of what we're talking about. She's done an incredible job. People are going to start to see the fruits of her labor. And Pam, maybe you could say a few words about what we're talking about here.
Sure, President. Let me be crystal clear. Crime in DC is ending and ending today. We are going to use every power we have to fight criminals here. President, thank you for caring about our capital. Families come here every summer. Our museums are free. We have the National Zoo. We have the National Gallery.
God, and such as
where everyone can come and feel safe. Behind me and to my side, we have some of the best career law enforcement and prosecutors in the country who are ready to take this on. As the president said, Terry Cole is going to be supervising the Metro Police Department. Gaddy Serralta, our U.S. Marshal, is going to be supervising command and control, the entire operation. Our Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, and I will be working with them closely, along with our great FBI Director, Kash Patel. Kash is going to talk to you in a minute about what we did in Virginia recently with Governor Youngkin. Many of you covered that, and it was tremendously successful. Not only that, our secret weapon here in D.C. is U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro, one of the toughest prosecutors and a former judge. And she is going to be talking about juvenile crime, how it's out of control here, and what she's going to do to fight back. No more crime rampant in our beautiful capital. No more teenage girls beating a disabled man to death. No more of that. No more drive-bys. We're going to do everything we can. And working with the ATF Director Driscoll and Commander of the Army, we're going to all work together. That's what we all do in this room. We work together. We fight. Do not underestimate one person in this room. We're going to make DC beautiful. We're going to make DC safe again. One other thing, just
last time I went to DC, it was pretty beautiful.
Days ago, the area of the wharf, Terry Cole reached out to me, not even nightfall, on the weekend, where so many families in tourists go. A guy's overdosing from fentanyl on a park bench in the middle of families around. They administer Narcan and saved his life. No more of that. The President of the United States is going to clean up DC, and we're going to be there to help him, and we're going to be successful. Thank you.
Thank you. Cash, talk about Northern Virginia. If you Northern Virginia, we had a big success.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Attorney General Bondi, for your leadership, Deputy Attorney General, and the rest of our interagency partners. Mr. President, the following is what happens when you let good cops be cops. And I just want to highlight that before I get into Northern Virginia. This year alone, under President Trump's administration, we've had over 4,000 child victims identified and found. That's a 33% increase from the same time period last year. 33% increase. We've had a seizure of 1,500 kilograms of fentanyl up to this date. That is a 25% increase since the same time period last year. And just to put it in perspective, 1,500 kilograms of fentanyl is enough to kill 115 million Americans. 115 million Americans. Cops are getting after it. The FBI has arrested 19,000 people this year alone. Thanks to President Trump's administrations, that's double than where we were this time last year. And we have also arrested 1,600 people who have committed violent acts against children. 270 of them are human traffickers of children. Mr. President, this is what happens when you have great leadership at the Attorney General with Pam Bondi. Your administration's priority.
Oh my gosh. What is he trying to do? Is he trying to declare martial law so that the midterm that he can
the murder rate is on track to be the lowest in U.S. history, in modern
control
history,
people's votes in blue places and blue states, blue cities?
How do we do it? And what are we going to bring to D.C.? What we did in Northern Virginia, thanks to Terry Cole and Governor Youngkin and the team, we stood up a task force out in my Northern Virginia field office, and we said, let's let good cops be cops. Let's get them the intelligence and what they need, and let's get the red tape out of their way, and let's get DOJ partnered up with us to bring great prosecutions. And that's exactly what we did. In 1 month, we arrested 545 violent felons, 545 in the state of Virginia, thanks to Governor Youngkin's partnership. And that simplicity in law enforcement is what's coming to Washington, D.C. When you let good cops be cops, when you give them the intel they need, when you work with our Homeland Security Task Force, when you work with Terry and Gaddy and I go way back to Miami. These guys are great leaders of the respective departments.
Stand by for our commentary after this.
And when you have the DOJ and President Trump driving behind this mission, we are going to clean up Washington, D.C., and we're going to do it the right way, the lawful way, and we're going to make sure Washington, D.C. is safe again. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Attorney General.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Cash. So the process begins right now. It actually started over the weekend. We confronted a lot of very bad people.
Don't worry. It's almost ending. I know you guys
something that will
turn off for a lot of you, me as well.
Amazing to you.
We're going to talk about it after this, and you don't want to miss it.
And I think most of you say it's a beautiful thing to do it right. We're going to be removing homeless encampments from all over our parks, our beautiful, beautiful parks, which now a lot of people can't walk on. They're very dirty, very, got a lot of problems.
And I was just in DC, and wow, that looked pretty good to me.
Away, trying to take care of people.
Just saying.
Some of those people, we don't know how they even got there. Some of those people are from different countries, different parts of the world. Nobody knows who they are. They have no idea, but they're there. Getting rid of the people from underpasses and public spaces from all over the city. There are many places that they can go, and we're going to help them as much as you can help. But they'll not be allowed to turn our capital into a wasteland for the world to see. The Metropolitan Police Department and the federal authorities will be supported in the effort, a really big effort, the 800 DC National Guardsmen that we'll put on, and much more if necessary, much more. You remember I said, I offered 10,000 once. Remember I said to a certain person who I thought always was highly overrated, not very competent. But I said, if you need them, we'll give you 10,000 of the military or the National Guard. They turned me down. But if necessary, we're going to move service members directly to joining the Guardsmen, and that'll take place very rapidly, and that'll be done in conjunction with Pam and with Pete and everybody else. Washington, D.C. should be one of the safest, cleanest, and most beautiful cities anywhere in the world, and we're going to make it that. We're going to make it safe. We're going to make it smart. We're going to make it beautiful, so beautiful. Some of the buildings, we're going to add to it. You see what we've done at the White House. White House is a whole different building. I do that in my part-time because it's a natural instinct as a real estate person. I was very good at that, and I was very good at fixing things up. I
Oh
like
my
fixing things
God.
up. You see what's happening. The marble floors are being reinstalled, renovated, fixed. The whole place is becoming very beautiful. We're going to be adding a magnificent ballroom, most beautiful ballroom, I think, anywhere. We need it.
Okay,
Certainly
you guys
would've
talk
filled that
about the
today.
mental.
I think we would have filled it up.
I
A
don't know
lot
where
of
the
you are standing outside,
books and
can't get in
the
this room.
articles
I've never
on
seen the room like this, which tells me that you
Donald
want to
Trump's
talk about.
what is he talking about a
This was
fucking ballroom for?
DC news conference. It tells me that you want to talk about crime in DC and beautification of DC. But I'm going to put that's easy. And I think, frankly, fixing the crime with the pros, fixing the crime is easy too. A person who I've known for a long time, and she's been incredible. She was a fantastic, one of the best ever district attorneys in New York. She was in Westchester, and she became a judge, very successful judge. And then she went into showbiz because she was such a good DA and such a good judge, tough judge, but fair, always fair. Nobody ever complained about that, but she was tough. And because of that and her reputation, she went into showbiz. So a lot of people don't, they think of Janine as showbiz. Actually, showbiz was not her thing. And she did great. She was on along with a couple of other of my friends on the #1 show, and she did great. But this is what she loves doing. This is really her baby. What she's going to do is going to be incredible. And I'd like to speak for just a few seconds on
Oh
what she
God.
has in mind, what she wants to do. We're going to be appointing some judges. We have some open spots, and we're going to take people because the judges are letting killers out. They're just saying, go. It's okay. Don't worry about it. So we're putting some Pam recommended, Todd recommended, some judges that are great. Janine recommended. Janine's given me 3 great candidates already. We have about 10 open spots, and we can probably create some more. We need them. Janine, would you say a few words, please?
Oh my God, here comes the 5 lady, another
Thank
TV
you very
news
much,
host.
Mr. President, and thank you, Madam Attorney General, and to all my partners here. We all want the same thing. We all want a safe city. We want a safe capital. We want to be able to bring our families here. We want to be able to come and enjoy the
So
history
embarrassing for
that
our
makes this
country.
place great. And unfortunately, we are not in that position right now. And Mr. President, I want to thank you for taking the step that we need right now to make criminals understand that they are not going to get away with it anymore. And I'm not going to stand here and go over and over the cases. But what I can tell you is this. I see too much violent crime being committed by young punks who think that they can get together in gangs and crews and beat the hell out of you or anyone else. They don't care where they are. They can be in DuPont Circle, but they know that we can't touch them. Why? Because the laws are weak. I can't touch you if you're 14, 15, 16, 17 years old and you have a gun. I convict someone of shooting another person with an illegal gun on a public bus in the chest, intent to kill. I convict him. And you know what the judge gives him? Probation. Says you should go to college. We need to go after the DC Council and their absurd laws.
Oh my
We need
gosh.
to get rid of this concept of, no cash bail. We need to recognize that the people who matter are the law-abiding citizens. And it starts today. But it's not going to end today because the president is going to do everything we need to do to make sure that these emboldened criminals understand we see you, we're watching you, and we're going to change the law to catch you. And my final note is this. These kids understand that the jurisdiction is through the state attorney general, Brian Schwab. I did a poster of the young man from Doge who was beaten bloody with a severe concussion, a broken nose. And then I did a poster of what happens to those kids because I can't arrest them. I can't prosecute them. They go to family court and they get to do yoga and arts and crafts. Enough. It changes today. Thank you, Mr. President.
Oh God.
Thank you.
Really? Is this
If
really
I could, I just signed
this
some
woman
executive
yapping?
orders. I'd like to have Will please come up and we'll let the people know what we signed. Do you want to put them down?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Okay, another
A
dog
short
and
while
pony
ago
show.
in the Oval Office, President Trump signed 2 crucial executive actions to deal with the emergency crime conditions we currently face in the District of Columbia. The first of these was an executive order, as President Trump said before, invoking his powers under Section 40 of the Home Rule Act to take federal control of the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department. Along with that executive order, President Trump signed the statutorily required notification letters to Mayor Bowser and to the relevant House and Senate committee leaders. The second major executive action that President Trump signed was a presidential memorandum directing the Secretary of Defense to utilize the National Guard to address the conditions we see on our streets here in D.C. It also authorized the Secretary of Defense to work with state governors to utilize their National Guard units if necessary as well. These are bold, decisive steps intended to combat the out-of-control crime conditions we've seen on D.C.'s streets for far too long. And I, for one, am deeply proud to be part of an administration that's finally coming to terms with these issues, sir.
Thank you very much.
Sir.
Thank you. So, just to conclude, Washington, D.C. should be one of the safest, cleanest, most beautiful places anywhere in the world. It was years ago. We had one problem that was a pretty big problem. The radical left got out of control and they started trying to rip down statues. And I said, let's go pass a law real fast. We're going to do it real fast. But we were blocked by the Democrats who do not want safety. Nobody gets it. I don't get it. They don't get it because they can't get votes. I don't know how they can win an election with this, but they don't want safety. And I found an old statute, very old, early 1900s, that said if you so much as touch or even think about destroying a statue or a monument in Washington, D.C., you go to jail for 10 years with no probation, no anything. In other words, slightly different than we have today. Today we have cashless bail. There you get jailed 10 years. No curtailed sentence, 10 years. And we took it out. Nobody used it. It was never used because, it's harsh. And you remember they started to rip down the statue of Abraham Lincoln. I said, that's a tough one to rip down. He was pretty good, Pam. I think he was pretty good. When the ropes started going around Abraham Lincoln to pull him down, Andrew Jackson, others.
Oh my God.
Heading to the
this man
Jefferson
loves to hear
Memorial,
himself
Thomas
talk. And
Jefferson.
what the hell is he
I
talking
threw a
about?
big number there. I said, it's time. And I signed
Grandpa.
that statute immediately. We had it updated.
Why are you telling these
made it,
stories again?
Use the same language, all passed by Congress. And I announced it's 10 years in jail, no probation, no anything, 10 years, no curtail sentence if you touch so much as touch a statue in Washington, D.C. And it was an amazing sight, beautiful sight. Everybody just left. The ropes were hanging around Andrew Jackson, and there were 2 ropes around Abraham Lincoln. They left the rope, but everybody just left. I know it was the last problem we ever had. That was the last problem that we ever had with the statues. They were going wild, and somebody came to me and said, sir, in 1910, I don't want to give you an exact because you'll say,
Oh my God.
Donald Trump
What is he
gave us
talking
wrong
about?
dates around like early on. If I'm slightly off, they make you sound a little bad. So I won't put myself in that position. I won't put you in that position because I think everybody agrees with what we're doing today. But when I signed that thing, it was like a miracle. Everybody left. They were gone. They were starting to march down. They started the march toward Thomas Jefferson. And I figured he was always going to be safe. But they found something with him, and they found something with Abraham Lincoln. And even in the name George Washington in California, numerous places changed the name of George Washington High School and various other places. They took George Washington's name. This was a
What
sick,
the fuck
woke
is he
culture
talking
that I
about?
think we've largely ended. And a lot of those people that were woke are now turning out to be the opposite. I won't go so far as to say MAGA. It's a very special category, but they've gotten out of that. But we have people that love this country, and they love this really beautiful capital. It is. I flew over it the other day, and I said, "What a beautiful place!" But if there's crime all over the streets, when you get there, it doesn't look so beautiful. But we're going to make it beautiful again. We're going to fix it with crime, and we're going to also, as we're doing that, we're going to start doing things that we know how to do, that I know how to do better than anybody, I guess, because of my experience from previous life. But not only are we stopping the crime, we're going to clean up the trash and the graffiti and the grime and the dirt and the broken marble panels and all of the things they've done to hurt this city. And we're going to restore the city back to the gleaming capital that everybody wants it to be. It's going to be something very special. All of these people are really tough. Could I shake your hand, Gaddy, please? You're going to be so important here. You're going to be that guy. I hope I don't have to fire him in 2 weeks because he's too soft. I don't think he's too soft. If I do, I will, though. Is it okay if you're soft, weak, and pathetic like so many people? I will fire you so fast. You're not going to have to worry about that. No, I think you're going to do a fantastic job. And everybody in this room, they may not express it, but they all want that to happen. You know,
Oh my God. Okay, come on, please hurry up and end.
So it's an honor to have such a large group. I've done this for years now. Hard to believe. I've never seen this room so packed. In fact, I'm sure it's a violation of every fire code.
Okay, can we just leave him on a little low?
But we'll let you stay anyway. You're taking a chance.
Okay.
And with that, we'll say maybe if you could. Oh, wow. We could be here all day long. If we could keep the first questions.
Okay, let's get that. We want to hear the questions. While we're hearing the questions, Jolly covers Washington D.C. for its capital. So Jolly, let's listen to some of the questions.
So we talked about flying over the Washington Monument.
Hold on, Jolly.
And seeing the pride of what D.C. is, and do you believe that the status of the city, the cleanliness,
Stand by, Jolly.
the way that crime is low, is a direct reflection on how the country is run?
Yeah, I do. I think the capital. Look, everyone comes here. They're all coming. All the leaders, they're all wanting to come. And I say it. I've said it again, but I'm really just quoting other leaders from NATO, from the Middle East, King of Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE. I was over there. We brought back $5.1 trillion of investment into our country. But I was
okay. We can pot it down. Let's bring Jolly up. Jolly.
They agreed to put up 5% instead of 2%. 2% they didn't pay. 5% is already paid.
Let's pot it down a little bit. Jolly, can we hear Jolly? Is he on? Is his mic open? Nikki?
Jolly is here, but he is muted.
He is muted. Okay, so let's take him off. We'll listen to the questions and then we'll get Jolly. Maybe he's making a video, so stand by.
The tariffs have helped. It's given us not only the money, it's billions.
I didn't expect the farmer's dog to change the way I feel about fresh food.
A golden retriever is 6 years old. But
5 wars. Pakistan and India we just solved one. Azerbaijan and, as you know, in Armenia. War was raging for 37 years. And the two leaders got up and they said, we never thought this would be solved. Russia tried to solve it. They all tried to solve it. It was a very tough situation, but we got it done. And I said to the two men, I said, are you guys friends? And they had a hard time. They've been killing each other for 37 years, right? One was there 5 years. One was there for 22 years. He said, my whole life I've been fighting this war, and you got it solved. But we did many of those. We did in the Congo and Rwanda. That's been going on for 30 years. 8 to 9 million.
My God, I
people
can't.
that They know, but it was raging, and we got that solved. We got a lot of them.
What is Grandpa
honor.
talking about right now?
You want to have, when they come, the leaders come to our country to sign documents.
Okay,
that the war
Nikki,
is over
let's
or whatever.
try to
Or
bring Jolly.
whatever.
Pot him down a little bit, and we'll listen to the questions on the side. There's something interesting with Jolly. You there?
So beautiful. You ride down those roads. Everything should be perfect.
Jolly, are you there? You're muted, sir.
What about now?
You're muted. Okay, so we're Jolly. What the actual fuck?
Well, I mean, first of all, there's a lot to unpack here from this press conference. let's go back to the beginning of it real briefly, where he talked about Section 740 of the Home Rule Act. Let me send this to Nikki so she could pull it up. I'll send it to her right now. Let me show you Section 740 of the Home Rule Act, because it's very important, I think, that we talk about what he's referencing in order to take control of DC Metro Police. Because, Don, there's some things I just learned after looking this up, that it would appear that once again, to nobody's surprise, Donald Trump is not following the letter of the law, that this is an actual illegal takeover of the DC Metro Police, and I can show you how I'm making my case. More importantly, I want to point out, I'm in DC all the time. You guys know that. That's where I report from. That's what I'm always covering. I'm in and out of DC. I live just outside DC. I'm very close to DC. DC is not crime ridden as he's trying to make it sound. Right here, Nikki just pulled it up on the screen, Section 740. Let's read this really briefly because I think it's important. I'm just going to read the first sentence. Notwithstanding any other provision of law, whenever the President of the United States determines that special conditions of an emergency nature exist which require, it went away, which require, let me find it on my screen, which require use of the Metropolitan Police for federal purposes. I think that's what's important here. It says under Section 40 of the Home Rule Act that the president can take emergency control of the police when special conditions of an emergency nature exist which require use of the Metropolitan Police Force for federal purposes.
Mm-hmm.
Don, there's nothing federal about saying the crime is up in DC, which, by the way, it's not.
Any other questions, sir?
Crime is not up in DC.
Pause, Dolly, 1 second.
Reclassify marijuana. Would that send mixed messages that if marijuana is okay, some drugs are okay, but we're trying to clean up crime? How do they go hand in hand?
We're only looking at that. That's early, but somebody reported it, which is fine. We're looking at it. Some people like it, some people hate it.
So they're talking about them changing the marijuana law. Sorry, I want to hear if anyone asks him about the insurrection and also about Epstein. But I get your point. Look, he said he had to declare this a fake emergency in order to be able to enact.
Correct. But it's more. But not only is this a fake emergency, I think that's important that everybody understands. Violent crime is at a 30-year low in DC. 30-year low. Okay. As reported by, I'll tell you who reported that. I don't have it on my screen, but 30-year low. Also, even in an emergency, Section 740 of the Home Rule Act states the president can only take emergency control of the police for federal purposes. I ask anyone, what's the federal purpose here? And oh, by the way, in case you haven't been watching social media, I'm on my way to DC immediately following this conversation, Don, to document some of this myself. There's already jackboot thugs at Union Station asking for people's ID and papers. They literally ask people, show me your papers. I mean, they're using the terminology from 1930s Germany. It's just, this is mask off. This is absolutely, every American should be concerned. And if you heard in his press conference, I need to point this out, he said that crime is also up in LA, New York, Chicago.
Wrong.
Guys, that's the hit list. This same thing you're witnessing him do right now in DC is coming shortly to New York, LA, and Chicago.
And that's on purpose. That's on purpose because he wants to take control of those cities so that he can finagle the vote and voting booths and who has access to voting for the midterms, because he is worried that his policies, he knows his policies are not resonating with the American people. He has Epstein derangement syndrome, and he's doing everything he can, not only to distract, but to steal upcoming elections. Where's the lie, Dolly?
There's no lie. You're 100% right. This all comes down to maintaining power. All right, he's creating a security perimeter around himself in DC, so that he can't be removed from office, so that he can suppress any opposition, any protest that happens there. I protest there often. I don't think that's going to be a thing we're going to be able to freely do anymore without being
Dolly,
arrested.
stand by. He's mentioning the cities that we talked about.
Okay.
He would have allowed the water to come down which I told him about in my first term. I said, you're going to have problems. Let it come down. We actually sent in our military to have the water come down into LA. They still didn't want it to come down after the fires. But that was it. We have it coming down. But hopefully LA is watching. That mayor also. The city's burning. They lost like 25,000 homes. I went there the day after the fire. You were there. And I saw people standing in front of a burned down home. It was, their homes were incinerated. They weren't.
He mentioned Los
even
Angeles,
steel.
Chicago,
Literally,
I think
it was all
Philadelphia,
warped and literally disintegrated.
New
because of
York.
the winds and the flame and the whole thing, like a blowtorch. They were standing on this beautiful day, maybe a couple of days after. We gave it a little time because what they had suffered. Almost 25,000 homes. And you see what's happening now. They didn't give their permits. I went to a town hall meeting. I said, we're going to get you the federal permits, which are much harder.
Oh my God.
Almost immediately. Lee Zeldin is a star. He did an incredible job. They have all their federal permits. They don't have their city permits. And the mayor said to me, we think we could have them in 2 years. I was walking
Okay,
down the street.
Jolly, go on. He's just going off about the fires in Los Angeles. He brings up a city that's a Democratic city, and then he brings up issues with that
Yeah,
city.
I mean, well, first of all, let's never forget this is a 79-year-old man who's got signs of, memory loss, cognitive disabilities. He's got, venous thrombosis or whatever the fuck it was. And so, his ability to stay on track and stay on topic is not there. But yes, he's mentioning these Democratic-controlled cities because his plan, everyone needs to recognize this plan. It's not just implement martial law and tell the people that, you do what I say. They know that that's too much of a shock to the system and people will immediately revolt. They're doing this thing that other countries have done as well. That other countries that were originally democratic, that were originally by election, they slowly take over the elections to give the appearance of democracy, but it doesn't exist. That's what they're working on doing. By the 2026 midterms, they want the election to be so rigged in their favor that it has the appearance of democracy. And oh, by the way, they spent the last 4 years crying foul when there was no foul. So now anybody who does cry foul looks silly like them. That was on purpose. If we look silly doing it, then it'll make you look silly when you legitimately do it. So that's why the Democrats were scared to challenge the 2024 election results when they happened. They were 100% a farce, 100% rigged. Elon rigged that shit. But the point is,
now he's calling. He sent Gavin Newsom something about bullshit. Let's hear it.
It's amazing. I called, the first thing I did, I got the Olympics to go there. I was the one that
Oh,
got it. And by a rare thing that happened, I'll be the president. I was very upset because I got the Olympics there and I said, I won't be president when it comes, but bad things happened and illegal things happened, really illegal things happened. Now it turns out one good thing was I'm going to be the president for the Olympics for 2050, for 250, which is
Oh my God.
going to be fantastic. And also for the World Cup. So we have
For
a lot of
20
good things, and I hope 250.
Did you say 2015?
Anniversary is going to be the best.
Or
But
250?
when I look at those people,
if I was the Olympics, I don't come here.
That they still don't have their permits. It's a disgrace what's happened in Los Angeles.
Thank you. The China tariff deadline is tonight, but do you plan to extend that?
We'll see what happens. China's been, we've been dealing very nicely with China, as you probably have heard.
Okay, go ahead.
have
Now he's talking about China.
Tremendous
But
tariffs
when is the Epstein question going to come? And when is
Nobody's going to ask.
when is the hypocrisy over the insurrection going to come as well, Jolly?
Yeah, nobody's going to ask it. Okay, nobody's going to ask. By the way, let's just remind everybody since you
Let's
brought it up.
listen. A question. Here's the question.
So you have to understand, this is a war that should have never happened.
Okay, so he's talking about the and we'll get to that news. So you're right. No one is asking. He's talking about this meeting on Friday that he's supposed to meet with Putin, and then wondering if Zelensky is going to come, and he's answering that. But anyway, let's
please keep in mind, please remember why Korea is separated to this day. Please remember why the Korean Peninsula is still separated to this day. Because U.S. forces and Soviet forces got together and cut the peninsula up without Korean representation. America has a history of making decisions for other countries without their representation, without their say-so in their own land. This is American imperialism at work in Ukraine, telling the Ukrainian people, telling the Ukrainian government they have to give up Eastern Ukraine because that's what Russia wants. When Russia was the aggressor, when Russia was the one who entered Ukraine, when we had a memorandum where we said we would protect Ukraine from any nuclear forces that entered their sovereignty after they gave up their nuclear weapons. Listen, nobody's ever going to trust America again after this fucking guy.
Yeah.
Ever.
By the way, someone just, I was like, I didn't hear it. My ears are deceiving me. Where he said 2050, but then he said, turns out I will be the president in 2050. Okay. I don't know. I couldn't hear the context of what he was saying, but clearly, who knows? But you're right. No one has asked the question, what about Epstein and what about the insurrections? He said, he talked about the Capitol having graffiti and people marring the Capitol, which was just completely, to me, Jolly, hypocritical, because I'm wondering, well, what is he talking about? Is he talking about the insurrectionists that he pardoned? Because those are criminals, and they're certainly not in jail right now. When he says, I'm going to jail criminals, why aren't they in jail?
And also keep in mind that he did not invoke Section 740 of the Home Rule Act on January 6th. In fact, they spent the last 5 years claiming that he couldn't send in the National Guard because they were, quote unquote, under the control of Nancy Pelosi, which is a complete fabrication. The Speaker of the House is never in control of the fucking National Guard. But keep in mind, he's doing it now, but he's doing it now so he can attack the most vulnerable amongst us, those who are unhoused. To criminalize unhoused persons is the lowest of lows. Don't call yourself a moral society when you criminalize houselessness. And oh, by the way, to all those MAGA patriots who may come across this live feed or even come across this video after it's posted, if you rob another human being of their freedom and autonomy to exist where they choose to exist for no other crime than poverty, for no other crime than not having a house, and you rob them of their freedom of existence and then force them to relocate to a place of the state's choosing and force state-sponsored treatment upon them, you are a fascist bootlicker. You hate freedom. You hate the Constitution. You hate everything that you scream that this country is supposed to stand for. You're not a patriot. And if this was 1776, you would be defending the king, you fucking bootlicker.
Oh, boy. Okay.
I'm sorry, Don. I can't sit back in my country and watch us violently attack the most vulnerable among us and then listen to these bootlickers talk about patriotism and freedom when they hate everything about freedom. Because in this country, if I don't have a house, I have the freedom to exist where I choose. Obviously, I can't trespass private property. Excuse me. I can't trespass private property. I can't commit crimes. I can't. But this criminalization and this absolute, fairy tale narrative that the unhoused population is the danger on this society. This is just another narrative being painted by the Trump administration so that people will look the other way as they attack them. They moved from immigrants now to U.S. citizens. Is everybody paying attention how the Overton window is just on a constant shift? Because first it was immigrants and not the thugs and criminals. It was legal immigrants. It was legal residents. It was children at schools. It was people at courthouses. And now it's U.S. citizens who have no other crime besides being poor.
He's got approval to go into war.
Oh.
Kill everybody, but he needs
Have you noticed, like, he instead of short answers, how he's rambling on these answers about the guy just said, "Are you going to invite Putin or whatever? He's going to come." Now he's just rambling. I'm telling you, something is up. What is going on with this man?
some bad stuff.
Here's the problem, Don. I think that even after the Big Macs finally come through and do us all a favor, that things are not going to get better. I don't think that. I think that we're so far gone that, you know, the Heritage Foundation, Russell Vought and Stephen Miller and all those who are behind this bullshit, they're going to maintain control and it'll probably be worse. Right now, they're using him as the, you know, the cult leader to get everything put in place. But the longer we let this shit go on, the less of a chance we ever have of recovering our country, even after we all wake up to that glorious headline that we're all waiting for.
Ukraine. A lot of people don't know that Ukraine.
I don't know. You know, I saw something that was interesting this weekend, Jolly, as I was scrolling through and trying to figure out what was going on with DC, and someone sent me something that was very dystopian, and it was about what the country will look like in 2050, as a matter of fact, or 2054, I forget, where America was basically not a United States of America, but divided and separated because our Constitution, you know, became our Constitution was attacked and then unraveled starting now.
Well, I mean, here's what Donald Trump has exposed, not on purpose. He's not that smart. For everybody who claims the guy plays 4D chess, this motherfucker couldn't spell chess. But he did expose, even if by accident, all of the gaping holes in our Constitution. You see, never forget that our Constitution is founded on white supremacy, that the ideas, practices, and principles that have gone into this country's policies and procedures have been founded on white supremacy. That's why we have rules against felons voting, but not against felons being president. That's why you can have 34 felonies and be in the White House right now destroying our Constitution. But if you have a felony, then you can't vote without special permission from your state, without, you know, getting off of papers, getting off probation, blah, 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 blah. That's because they made felon the new N-word back in, you know, the 80s as a way to attack the black community without overtly attacking the black community. So this idea that we have all these rules against regular citizens, but not rules against politicians and corporations, is because of white supremacy. So now here we are with a system that has gaping holes and no real clear way of how to implement when people are breaking those rules. He's clearly in violation of the Constitution when he signs an executive order overturning the 14th Amendment. He's clearly in violation of the very Home Rule Act that he's talking about right now. But the question becomes, who's going to arrest him? Who's going to stop him? We don't have actual policies and procedures in place to do anything about somebody who's drunk with power. If the other people in the system refuse to abide by the rules of that system, when you got a Republican legislature who refuses to call him to the floor, when you got a SCOTUS who bends to his every whim and refuse to call him to task in the judiciary, we don't have checks and balances. So what he has exposed is that in a system, those who refuse to play by the rules of the system are going to do whatever they want as long as they got the majority. And the problem is we may never have the majority back because now they're rigging the system forever in their favor.
I gave them the javelins. You know that, right?
Mm.
I gave them javelins.
I'm trying. Oh my God! So now they're talking about the javelins and what he's doing for Zelensky and whatever, but not talking about how Putin is the war criminal of the world. And now he's. I gave him the javelins. You know, this is what I did for Zelensky. Instead of the way that they frame this stuff, right?
Correct. It's on purpose. It's on purpose. No, it's on purpose. They frame it this way on purpose to control the narrative. This is gaslighting in your face in real time. This is rewriting history. All right. Everybody, listen, let's go back to what I just talked about. In America, who's rewritten history over and over and over again? White supremacists. Every time we turn around, the Civil War was over, United Daughters of Confederacy was founded, they rewrote history books. It wasn't called the Civil War anymore. It was called the War of Northern Aggression. It wasn't a war over slavery. It was a war over states' rights. This was changing history. That was actively changing history. All right. In our history books, every hero has got a white face. They changed the Bible. Hell, Jesus turned white along the way. So this is what they do. They change history, and we're actively watching that in our face. That's why it's important that independent journalists like myself, like you, like all of us, document this shit and don't let them change it.
Let's listen to the question, Jolly.
Was there a part of it? I would say he could go, but he's gone to a lot of meetings. You know, he's been there for 3.5 years. Nothing happened. I mean, do you want somebody that's been doing this for 3.5 years? What's the definition of a good deal? I'll tell you after I hear what the deal is, because there could be many definitions. You know, you're talking about a very large and complex situation. Now, I tell you, the war that I just settled with
Still not answering
and with,
the
as
question.
you know, an Armenian.
He won't. He's not going to. There's no truthful answer
Almost
he
as
can give.
complex as this one.
What's a good deal? A good deal is where Ukraine doesn't get the short end of a stick when they were the one aggressed upon, when their sovereignty was the one that was invaded by a power-hungry Russian oligarch.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to ask you two questions, one about China, one about Russia, if I could. On China, your administration agreed to send the most advanced or advanced NVIDIA and AMD chips.
No, obsolete. No.
Obsolete chips. Well, and then 15% of the
You
profits
mean the
come back.
20s? No. This is an old chip.
Okay. Anyways,
China already
nobody's Jolly.
And
Stand by, if you will. We're gonna come back to Jolly. We're gonna get more of this, but I have to do something. I've got to do this. It's only gonna take 2 minutes. So here is a word from our sponsors.
China already has it in a different form, different name, but they have it.
Support comes from Wild Alaskan
They have a
Company.
combination of
When was the
two
last
that
time you
make up
truly
for it and
trusted the
even then
seafood
some.
you brought home? I used to second guess everything, the nutrition, the taste, the sourcing, until I tried Wild Alaskan Company. Now, I get wild-caught, perfectly proportioned, nutrient-dense seafood delivered right to my door. I love their sockeye salmon, fresh, flavorful, and packed with omega-3s. Wild Alaskan is 100% wild-caught, never farmed, so no antibiotics, no GMOs or additives. The fish is frozen right off the boat to lock in the flavor, the texture, and the nutrients. Every order supports healthy oceans and sustainable fishing communities. You can try it risk-free with a 100% money-back guarantee. If you're not happy with your first box, they'll refund you in full, no questions asked. Not all fish are the same. Get seafood you can trust. Go to wildalaskan.com/lemon for $35 off your first order. That's wildalaskan.com/lemon. $35 off your first order. Support comes from Lean. Have you heard of Caralluma? It's an edible cactus from India and a natural appetite suppressant. Doctors added it to a powerful weight loss supplement called Lean. Now, if you've got a big goal but injections aren't your thing, this is as close as it gets to those popular shots without the needles. Lean helps control appetite and cravings. It supports healthy blood sugar, and its rare ingredient even helps your body burn fat by turning it into energy. I like that it is all natural, doctor formulated, and easy to work into your day. No needles, no drama, just results. Get 20% off with code LEMON20 at TakeLean.com. That's Lemon20 at TakeLean.com. Now, these supplements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease and is not a substitute for care from a healthcare provider. So check with your doctor. And thank you so much to our sponsors. Thank you so much for our sponsors. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And a good audience for the sponsors. There you see Jolly right there. Jolly's actually doing some social media. And then, so the president.
Do you see a time, Mr. President, when there could be normal trade between the U.S. and Russia? Should your meeting go well? Should there be peace?
I do. Yeah. Russia has a very valuable piece of land. If Vladimir Putin would go toward business instead of toward war, you know, it's a warring nation. That's what they do. They fight a lot of wars. A friend of mine said Russia's tough because they just keep on fighting. They beat Hitler, so did we, and they beat Napoleon. You know, they've been doing this for a long time. I asked a question to a very, very smart man that some people like and some people don't like. Viktor Orban, right, from Hungary, the head of Hungary, and he's in that same area and knows the two countries very well. I said, this was before Biden didn't do anything to get us out of it. He could have gotten us out of that. It would have never happened.
He's back to the hits.
So,
Biden.
Can Russia be
Back to Biden. This man
Ukraine?
rambles
He looked at me
every
like,
single day.
He said,
Someone says, Don, do we still have to listen to this idiot? I think it's important that you listen to this, especially what what's happening with the cities.
wars. They fight wars.
I think it's important if we're talking about the war in Ukraine, If we're talking about the war in Gaza, I think it's important.
Very interesting.
But we will
And
see
he's not beating us with trade. Not when I'm in
if
charge,
he
but they would beat
discusses
Biden with trade, but
what he
they'd never
discusses
beat
at
us
the
with
meeting.
trade.
If
Nobody gets
Zelensky
$10 to
actually
pay $400
comes, if he's
billion
invited or not,
tariffs
we'll
when I
see if
was
he
last
comes.
time. That was last
But
time. And if we didn't have
So,
COVID,
Motown Mimi, I think
all
you're
of this
right.
stuff would
Motown Mimi
already
says,
would be
I
covered.
bet
We're
that
finding hundreds of
reporters were
millions
told
of
not
dollars
to
for
ask
cash
about
pouring into our country
Trumpstein.
now because of
I wonder,
and
go
all they're
ahead, Charlie.
doing
No, I
is
agree. I
they're
think that they're
doing
half
what
of
they
them are
did to us.
more than half of them are scared to
It's
ask
so
about it
beautiful
because
to
they don't
see.
want to get
They
thrown out or banned from the
found last
press
month
pool. Because by the way, keep in mind that's where we are now.
of
The
excess
president
cash.
controls
Just say,
who
where did it come
can
from?
be in there, what free press can have access.
Place called
That's not free press.
tariffs.
That's a violation of the
We're doing
First
very well.
Amendment, and
We're really
nobody's done
doing well.
anything
But
about it. Also, I think the rest of them don't believe that they'll get an answer to it because
I
he's
think
just going to,
good. Might be
cry
right.
and whine that you even asked. And for those who say this is just a distraction from the Epstein files, let me say something about that. Of course, it's part of it. He wants everything he can to distract from the Epstein files. But I want to remind the president, and all those around him, and all of MAGA that we can walk and chew gum at the same time. We're going to pay attention to what's happening in DC, and we're still going to keep talking about the Epstein files. But do not take, listen to me, do not take what's happening in DC as merely a distraction. This is real life. This is a problem. This is absolutely martial law. This is absolutely fascism. This is not a drill. This is not a joke. What's happening in DC will happen.
Let's listen.
I
He's
don't
going
want
to attempt
them.
to
I
do
don't
it in
want
New
them to
York.
be.
He's going to attempt to do it in LA. He's going to attempt to do it in
Charlie, let's
Chicago.
listen.
And I am hoping that Newsom and Hochul and Pritzker stand up and refuse. And I think that dark
Charlie, can
days
you
are
hear
ahead
me?
of America.
Charlie, I know you got to get out of it. Let's listen.
Okay, a question, Brian. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. All right.
And by the way, this is only on DC, and then they're going to leave because it's unfair to have them stand up here all day long. Brian,
I've got two questions for you. First, about DC. This is personal for me as well. Last year,
Oh, God. Remember this guy?
by one of these teenage thugs.
This is a guy. You know who this is, Charlie, right?
Got away with it. Let's talk about the effort that between law enforcement, prosecutors, and judges, because it's a recycling belt. Like these kids go, they don't fear the police. They know it. If you talk about how we've got to get these judges and put these kids behind bars.
Where's the question?
Deserve adult.
Oh my God. Notice how they don't cut him off. Now imagine if it was something that didn't agree with him.
Okay, it's real. Do you want me to answer it?
Fucking Janine Pirro.
Assuming that they're 17 years older than 17 years old, I can get the case. If they're under 18 years of age, I can only get the case if it's murder, rob one, rape, or even if they shoot a gun but don't kill you, I can't get it. So the law has to be changed. As the president said, countless battle. That has to be changed. All right. Then, even assuming I get the case, I get jurisdiction, I get a conviction, the DC Council has given the judges the ability to give probation on shootings. And so then it's up to them. All of these things, the Youth Rehabilitation Incarceration Reduction Act, and now they want to seal records. So if we work hard, we get a conviction, they want to wipe it out. So that needs all to be changed.
Can we acknowledge that they're just talking about black teenagers and young black men
Yeah.
in DC?
And can we acknowledge this is Brian Glenn, Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend, who works for Real
Oh, yeah,
America
that too.
News Network or whatever.
That's the guy who
Just
asked Zelensky why he doesn't wear a
single
suit.
thing they
Yes.
do throughout every step of the court process and report back to you and let all of you know what's happening to them, because the people who are prosecuting them, the judges who are trying them, they also need to be held accountable.
Mr. President, you're also making a comment. This is the most people we've ever seen in this briefing.
I've never seen
ever, right?
Do you notice how they let Brian Glenn go on? Can you imagine if it was a young reporter from another newspaper?
Yeah, he can do what he wants.
Where's Caroline? Come here, Caroline.
Oh God, I'm done. I gotta go make a video.
Is she doing
This
a
is
good
fucking
job? By the way?
garbage.
Come here.
I can't listen. This is just a way to make America white again. This is to establish a federal force to
That's
kick
not
all
true.
the
Look at all
unhoused
the
people
black
out
people up
and then to
there.
arrest all the black people.
Look at all the black people up there on the stage.
Yeah, look at the diversity up there.
All right, Brian, go ahead.
And God
Brian
almighty,
again.
look how ugly they are.
Brian
We should acknowledge
again.
that.
We build
Charlie,
a big,
Brian
beautiful
again.
briefing room up there technology,
No.
more seats.
I don't want to do that. I don't want you to be comfortable.
Can we acknowledge how ugly? Look at that. Look how ugly everybody on stage is.
No, I don't want to make life comfortable.
Oh my God, they're
So
so
look,
fucking ugly.
Look. Let's just do this. Let's do
And
this.
these are the people that think they're the superior species.
It's going to be a big deal. What happens. I'll let you know what happens. You'll be the first to know. I'll be calling the European leaders. I'm going with totally. I mean, we have a lot of talks.
Oh God,
great leaders.
I thought he said it's going to be about DC, and now he's talking.
As one of them
No,
said,
look at the
I've
genes on stage. Just the
on
bad
trying to
genes.
settle Ukraine.
Oh my God.
Meaning they've overdosed.
Well, you heard what you did. You hear
Not a
what
nice
Jennifer Welch said
expression, but
this
boy, is
weekend
it accurate.
about it?
Fucking
spending money.
Hankles McTaco tits. I fucking died. I died, bro.
$50 billion.
By the way,
Hankles
Jenna-
McTaco tits is such a top tier insult.
More than that.
That's S tier.
It is, and she said for people who triple trumped,
You know what?
voted for him 3 times.
Right.
By the way, Jen Welch of I've Had It podcast is going to be our guest live at 5 o'clock today Eastern time, and we're going to talk about what is it, Hankles McTaco tits.
Wait. And
such a top
we're
tier
gonna
insult.
try. I'll be in touch with them. I have 5 of them call me. You think it's easy?
Oh yeah, but these are look at these people that think that they're the master race. They're the fucking. And look at their genes. They all are just so fucking ugly.
Yeah.
When they zoomed out a minute ago and showed this
I'm
very
talking to
diverse
them
stage,
So I'm talking to the European leaders.
it's so fucking
I'll be
ugh.
talking to President.
Ugly people.
I'm going to get everybody's ideas. I go into that thing fully loaded.
Cankles McTaco tits, bro.
We're going to see what happens.
I just want to see if anyone gets a question in about
It's gonna be a good meeting, and
Epstein
we'll go one
or
step further. We're
Not gonna
go-
happen.
I'd like
You
to
don't
see
think
it
so?
Fire very, very quickly, very quick. I'd like to see it immediately, but I'd like to see it very quickly. And we're going to be dealing.
Well, I'm gonna go make a video and report to my audience this disaster.
I want you to listen to though before you go.
Great success. As far as this, what we
I
did
want you to just give
today,
me a minute or two.
And I think you were here for DC more so than even Russia, because Russia will be. You know,
That's why people were there. Of
separate
course, they
things
were
to
there
go.
for DC.
But the Russia is going to be very interesting. But to me, what is very exciting, and we're going to take back our capital. We're going to make it beautiful again, but we're going to make it, more importantly, safe again. It's going to be so safe. It's going to be a model.
Oh my gosh.
And then we'll look at other cities also. But other
See?
cities are studying what we're doing.
Told you, I called it.
Capable
New York,
people.
Chicago, LA, you're next.
But we have a great group of professionals. We're going to have a safe, beautiful capital, and it's going to happen very quickly. Thank you all. Thank you all very much.
Okay, you are listening to the hosted press conference, and that they're so self-satisfied about. And here is Caroline Levitt. I wonder if she's going to take some questions. If this is going to be the briefing for the day, but no, she said, "See you guys tomorrow." So that's it, right? Is that what she said? See you guys.
Look at
tomorrow.
that fake ass chart behind them.
Yes.
God damn, dude.
Oh my
God
God.
damn,
All right. So
dude.
bring us back up. Here we go. So look, I just want you to hear, I want to hear this because this is what you were saying. This is what's happening in the country right now. This is who's going to be our guest at 5 o'clock today. So we can ask her about this, about going viral. Here is Jen Welch from I've Had It podcast. Roll it.
Had it with white people that triple trumped. Yeah. That have the nerve and the audacity to walk into a Mexican restaurant, a Chinese restaurant, an Indian restaurant, go to perhaps their gay hairdresser. I don't think you should be able to enjoy anything but Cracker Barrel. And if you want to triple Trump and you want to browbeat DEI and you want to browbeat gay people and you want to browbeat black people as you've been doing for 400 years. And you want to browbeat this generation of immigrants that come over here and open up businesses earnestly, pay their taxes. You want to demonize them and call them rapists and felons and all this shit when the felon is the teeny weeny mushroom cock piece of shit, Kankles McTaco tits at the top of the ticket. I have fucking had it from top to bottom. White people that triple Trump should be banned, boycotted from enjoying the best thing that America has to offer, which is multiculturalism. Get your fat asses out of the Mexican restaurant. Get your fat asses over to Cracker Barrel because nobody wants to see your fucking smug ass, teeny weeny, pink arm, big gut, around. Nobody wants to see that shit. No one.
She has had it. And look,
Rightfully so.
said that Jen and Pumps get away with so much because they look like one of the people who might support, one of the people who are standing up on that stage today at the podium. But they're not. They see through the bullshit. They see things clearly. They do not have their MAGA colored glasses on.
Correct. And listen, she's rightfully enraged. She's also correct. We tend to lose in this conversation every time, and I got to keep mentioning it over and over. We lose the fact that the reason that Kankles McTaco Tits is there is white people. I understand that there was other demographics who surprisingly voted in higher numbers for him than should have. I get that. But do understand that white people are the ones making this possible. White people are the ones who are embracing him. White people are the ones who hear his dog whistles. This is all white supremacy. I'm going to say this, and I don't care who thinks I'm going too far. I don't care who thinks I'm wrong. I don't care who thinks that I'm being a conspiracy theorist. But at the end of the day, these people want America to be a white country, and they don't want anybody who doesn't look like us in this country. This whole DC thing, where they talk about crime and carjacking, these are all dog whistles that they're telling people, we're going to get the black people out of your city. We're only going to keep the black people that we deem as good. This is all history repeating itself. This is not the first time, by the way, any of this has happened. I can show you throughout history where this is just a repeat of what's happened in America, not in Germany, in America. So their goal is to make America white again. We've known that since 2016. Many of us have said it a quadrillion times. And so to hear Jen's exasperation is so relatable, because it just seems like people think that that's not really part of the conversation, but it is. Look at his underqualified, mediocre cabinet and see what they all have in common. White mediocrity.
Well, Jolly, let me just say this. You know you're white, right?
Yeah, that's why I can say this shit, because when black people say it and brown people say it and black educators say it, and it's been said 1,000 times before me, nobody listens. When a white guy with a beard comes up and says it, guess what? Oh, shit, let's listen. He's got a point. Or at least they argue with me. You know why? I look like
if a blonde lady says it, like I
correct.
And I told Jen Pumps that you can get away with saying stuff that I can't get away with, or I could, but then they would call me every name in the book and then fire me from the network. You know what I'm saying? They would call me a race baiter. They'd call me a race hustler. They'd call me just plain old racist. They'd say, oh my gosh, I can't believe, why does this company hire this person? Why don't they fire? You know what I mean? And then, but they pay people who are MAGA folks to lie and say the worst things about people imaginable, and they get a promotion and a raise. I'm just saying.
Yep, every time. This is white mediocrity in action. They've been talking about affirmative action in colleges for fucking 60 years, but not a single one of them know what legacy admissions are. Because as soon as you look up legacy admissions and see that 97% of legacy admissions are unqualified white students who are only going to the school because their parents either are big donors to that school or were a star athlete at that school. The difference between affirmative action and legacy admissions is affirmative action, you have to at least meet the minimum qualifications to go there. Legacy admissions, you do not. You see, forever and always, white people have been getting free passes and non-white people haven't. And somehow I was told when I was 10 years old that we're the victims. Listen, until, I'm going to say this again, even when Kankles McTaco Tits finally goes where we all want him to go and we get to read that glorious headline the day it comes, even then, this doesn't go away, because until this country decides to address white supremacy and put an end to what we started, it's going to continue.
I want to, I just sent something to producers. Producers, let me know how quickly we can get this up. This is the last thing I want to talk about with Jolly. And until we do that, let's put it, Jolly, I sent you a note. I wish you were here. But anyway, don't discuss that on here.
Yeah, I got you.
I want to talk about that. But on Wednesday night, I want everyone to know we're going to be discussing this in the most honest, real way possible. Tuesday night and Wednesday night. Tuesday night is sold out. Wednesday night, if you have not gotten your tickets, I don't know where you are, but you need to get on a plane and come to City Winery here in New York City. D.L. Hughley and I are going to be giving a show on Tuesday night, sold out. Wednesday night, DL and DL, episode 2, where we discuss what's going on in the world. And we're going to educate people. You get to talk about it. We're going to give you advice on how you get through this, what you need to do in order to fight back against tyranny, to fight back against authoritarianism, to try to get our democracy back, or it will be lost. Tickets are on sale Wednesday night, 7:30 is when it starts. I believe the doors open at 6. Doors open at 6 p.m. You can get your cocktail on, you can get your food on, and you can discuss. We're going to do it through serious work, serious journalism, serious fact checking, and some humor. DL is going to perform his, reality-based comedy that he does, for now during the Trump administration, and you don't want to miss that. So make sure, grab your tickets Wednesday night, City Winery here in New York City. The link should be at the top of the chat. If not, you can just Google City Winery, Don Lemon, and DL Hughley. Or we could end up in a dystopian society. And Jolly, this is what I want to show you before we get out of here. For what happened on that stage and where we're going in this world, this is what we're leading to. And I don't think that this is far off if we continue on and we don't fight back, if you guys don't support independent journalists, if you don't stand up and fight for what you want. And that means the people who are bringing you the information, because I think that will make the difference. Then we will end up like this, us, your children, your children's children, and America. Here it is.
It's 2051. The United States of America exists only in history books. No war, no invasion, no single moment when America ended. Just a slow fracturing that became too obvious to deny. The constitutional crisis of 2028 was the first crack. 7 states refused to certify federal election results. The concept of a united country became fiction. The federal debt default of 2031 shattered the dollar's global status. By 2035, the water wars erupted. Southwestern states broke federal water sharing agreements. Survival outweighed union. The West Coast separated first, a digital republic bound to Asian markets. The Southern Coalition assembled around Texas, a nation of faith, oil, and armed borders. Their laws cite scripture where federal precedents once stood. The Atlantic Union formed from the Northeast, a banking federation connected to Europe, not the American interior. Their aging population embraced technocracy over democracy, liberty redefined as efficient management. The Midwest fragmented into isolated territories. Some thrived as agricultural city-states. Others collapsed as water grew scarce. Suburbs became fortified communities. Highways became trade routes with checkpoint tolls. The transition happened in everyday moments no one noticed. Interstate travel required enhanced identification in 2033. Regional currencies appeared by 2037. School maps were redrawn in 2042. Family reunions became international events by 2045. American became a historical term by 2049. The National Archives Battle of 2040 saw regions fighting over the Constitution and Declaration. The documents now rotate between capitals like relics of a fallen civilization. Washington, D.C. stands as a neutral museum district. The National Mall has become a memorial park to a nation that once was. The most striking aspect of America's end was how normal it felt. Each step seemed reasonable. Each region's complaints seemed justified. By the time maps were redrawn, citizens had already accepted the new reality. Rome's fall happened gradually, then suddenly. The Soviet collapse occurred the same way. America's dissolution followed the pattern. A nation that spanned a continent disappeared while everyone was watching. The dissolution wasn't marked by a final battle or surrender ceremony. It ended with a quiet admission that America had already been gone for years. The flag still flew, the anthem still played, the pledge still recited. But the nation they represented had vanished, not destroyed by enemies, but dissolved by its own citizens who stopped believing they were one people.
Jolly, I can't say that that's wrong.
So, no, I mean, here, listen, 2 things I'll say about that. The last part of that, that's the part I've been trying to get people to understand. That there's not going to be a neon sign. There's not going to be like a breaking news. Breaking news. America has fallen. Fascism is now in control. That's not going to happen. People are wondering, how will I know when we're in fascism? Let me give you some things you can look for. The president taking control of the police force to establish perimeters in D.C. That's a good thing to look for. The president violating the Constitution time and again. The president openly gerrymandering and rigging the election so that it appears democratic, but really it's just rigging it in his favor. These are some things you can look for fascism to take hold. But so the last part of that video where it says America's already fallen, but they still flew the flag, that's where we're at right now. The first half of that, I think that people just don't believe it can happen here. So I like that the video was put into perspective of 2051. Because we read in history books that this happened there and there and there, but American exceptionalism has people believing it can't happen here. It can happen everywhere except America. The fact is, not only can it happen here, but it is
happening here right now. Jolly, thank you, sir. I'll chat with you a little bit later on. We'll see you here on the Don Lemon Show. Go do your work. We appreciate you jumping on. And you guys know what I always say. I'm just going to tell you, you can be informed without being inundated. Okay? So until I see you back here live at 5, Jen Welch is going to join us live. Turn the TV off. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never, ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members-only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your love and your support, and we will see you next time.